What is up, YouTube? In today's video, I am super excited to be sharing with you an altcoin chart that can change your life. This is the altcoin total market cap, and I'm going to be running over how this looks identical to Bitcoin back in 2011. So this video is going to be super informative and very useful for people that are interested in the altcoin markets specifically. And if this happens, of course, the Bitcoin markets are going to flourish as well because of how heavily correlated they are. Go ahead and hit that like button for me and hit the subscribe button with the notification bell because I am uploading 5 videos every single week, Monday through Friday, all through 2020 to keep you guys posted and up to date in the cryptocurrency markets. Also, comment down below where you're tuning in from in this beautiful world because I love to hear where you guys are coming from. So again, today is all about this life-changing altcoin chart that can easily make some serious gains in the coming years. So let's get straight into the video. So this is the altcoin total market cap. This means all of the altcoins combined, excluding the value of Bitcoin. So as you can see, when I hover my mouse over the top of the entire market, the altcoins hit about $554 billion in total market valuation at their peak. Whereas if I go down towards the bottom of the market, they fell all the way down to about 45 billion in total market capitalization. So that is a huge drop in value. But the question people are having is, can a market drop this hard and still recover into the future? People are very concerned with their investments, especially people that got in during the mania. Anybody that was buying their crypto over here at the top of the market, you guys are probably worried the most, sick to your stomach, because maybe you weren't like the earlier investors or like me that was getting in long before this parabolic run on the upside. And so for the people that haven't actually made money in the markets, for the people that have only tasted losses, then you're probably especially wondering what's going to happen next in the market if you're even still in the market. Now, for the people that were more lucky and were able to profit off of that, of course you guys are as concerned as well, because although you made a lot of money in the 2017 runs, you're probably still trying to recover on those gains, get those gains back after the 2018 crash. And so this video is going to be very useful for both parties. If you got in near the top, or maybe you heard about Bitcoin and you were a smart investor and got in early like I did and many of my followers, this video is perfect for both of you guys. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a comparison of Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin back in 2011 to about 2012. And this is a very, very, very important chart to be looking at because this is similar to what I would see happening across the board with the altcoin markets. And this is a market cycle of Bitcoin going from its lows over here of really under $1 all the way up to its first major peak of $31 and back down to a low of around $2. So that is a very similar explosive growth and retracement back to lower values. So one of the best tools you guys can use in the markets is Fibonacci. And when you go from this low to this peak, I personally double click on the Fibonacci tool and I go down and I click on an extra spot that isn't being used and I type in .95. Now this right here is from the peak low to the peak high of this cycle. You can see that the market fell down to the 0.95% retracement. So that is a pretty drastic drop. It also fell to around the 786 and bounced back up to the 618 before continuing down. So let's see what kind of Fibonacci relations we have in altcoins from its cycle as well. As you can see, we have this move where we build up in value, we continue, and then we start to really get a lot of faith in the markets. People get euphoric, they start over leveraging, putting too much money in. They think that they're pure geniuses. And trust me, I know exactly what that feels like, because that's exactly what the top of a market feels like, because you're like, man, I'm pure genius. And then this right here is where most of the money starts to leave the market, because institutional money wants to buy something that is retraced, it's fallen significantly, so they're not paying too much per coin, per share, per whatever, stocks, crypto, whatever you're talking about. So with that being said, we fell almost down to the 95. Now with the BLX chart, we also were just shy of the 95. This one is just shy of the 95, but it came very close to that 95% retracement. And also, if you guys remember, we got a bounce off the 786, or pretty close to it, and up even past the 618 to the 50%. So this is a very similar fractal of emotions. This is a very similar set of emotions that people felt right here in the market as they were feeling in the past, early Bitcoin investors right here in the market. And so this is a very, very symmetrical, very similar story that's being told. Now you'll notice that they aren't exactly the same. That's very, very key to note, because one of the things that happens when people learn about comparing market cycles, comparing fractals, is they try to take a big picture fractal like this, where you're going from a multi-year period of time and you're looking at all of this data right here so that you can project data into the future, which we're going to get into in just a second. And they go, okay, well, I found this fractal in Bitcoin, and maybe they're like right here in the market or something, and they're in a really, really, really small time frame, and they try to trade exactly, maybe the market on this fractal right here falls 20% off of that low, and they try to trade that exact trade where they go in and they short, but it's a little bit different. The structure is a little bit different, so they get stopped out or something like that. These big picture market cycle and these fractals, is like what we like to call them, comparisons, are much more effective when you're talking about what's happening in the big picture, because they rhyme. In other words, they're similar to each other, but they're not exactly identical. And that's very important to remember, so that you're not trying to go into these smaller time frames and trade every little swing along the whole cycle, expecting it to be exactly the same as the other one. I mean, you can see even right off the bat how different this little breakout point is in comparison to the difference of this breakout point, where we had quite a bit of resistance and rejection before we moved up. This one had most of its rejection earlier on down here, had a little bit of a resistance and rejection similar to Bitcoin right here, but it was a lot more free, or similar to the altcoins right here, but it was a lot more free flowing than the altcoin market. The altcoin market had a little bit more rejections in this earlier spot. So you can see it's not identical, but what it can do is this whole section right here, where I have this place where it's drawn support, this purple kind of box. This whole section right here, this is future price projections, where the market reaccumulates. It breaks out of its downtrend, falls back onto a major support level, reaccumulates, makes a higher high pattern, and starts trending on the upside. So that's very, very typical of a reversal pattern. So what we are seeing right here potentially in the altcoin markets, and this is why it can be life-changing, you guys, is because we're seeing this same structure happening, where the market breaks up out of its downtrend, comes back down to major support, reaccumulates, and if it breaks above this double bottom pattern, just like the BLX chart did, just like Bitcoin did, clear back in 2012. It broke out of that double bottom pattern right here, so that horizontal resistance level. If we can do that in the altcoin markets today, get above that horizontal resistance level, and we can see that happen over the next little while, it's likely that we see another impulsive break upwards in the entire market, and it follows a similar pattern as what we had happen with Bitcoin back in 2011, back in 2012. So that's why this video is so exciting for me, because of the potential profits that we can all be seeing from this market cycle, from this fractal of human emotion that is repeating in the markets. And it doesn't matter what time frame. And obviously the bigger time frames are going to be much more profitable, but even if you're in the 1 minute, you'll see these same market cycles. If you're in the 5 minute, 10 minute, if you're in the 1 hour, 2 hour, you see these little cycles. Even this right here, from this low up to this peak and back down, is just a smaller version of this up to this and back down. It's all a cycle of human emotion of, let's get really greedy. Okay, now we're too greedy. Now let's get really fearful. Okay, now we're too fearful. We're flipping around. So that is extremely powerful. So what could happen with altcoins into the future? Well, the volume profile is showing, and this is very important. The structure of our volume is showing that we're likely to do what Bitcoin did in 2011. And if we just look at this volume profile for a second, this right here is very typical of a one wave in a market. So this is a 1 and a 2 wave. And we have increasing price, increasing volume, and then we have decreasing price and decreasing volume. This is exactly what happened to Bitcoin. We have increasing price, increasing volume, decreasing price, decreasing volume. And then during capitulation, during the bottom, volume starts increasing again, and price starts increasing as well. And then we have volume increasing, price increasing as well. And then we have another, drop back down to that purple box. And when we actually drop back down to that purple box, we get a huge volume spike. As you can see, there's this huge volume spike right here, congruent with this huge volume spike right here. And that's when we start to see the reversal, the accumulation take place. And then we get another big volume spike when we break above the horizontal resistance, also known as this blue box right here. This blue box that I have drawn, and that blue box is around 136 billion in total altcoin market capitalization. And so then what happened to Bitcoin after that? Well, this is what happened to Bitcoin after that move, you guys. We have a huge parabolic run all the way up to first peak at $268. It retraces back down to the 786, and then it goes all the way up to even $1,100 per coin, clear up here. And so that kind of very parabolic breakout of these lows of that previous market cycle is indeed what we are looking for here with the Bitcoin fractal to happen in the altcoin markets. And so what I would suspect is some type of accumulation that's generally trending upwards. Once we get above that major resistance of this blue level, like I said, around 136 billion in altcoin market capitalization, then we should see another large volume spike after these ones decrease a little bit because it's mainly accumulation. We'll see that volume spike, we'll see that price spike, and then some type of retest of support, and then higher highs, higher lows, and begin to really make that uptrend. And once we get above this horizontal resistance, things could start to go parabolic, just like they did in the Bitcoin markets. They really started to go parabolic and trend directly up after we form that low. So This is a very profitable time to be looking at cryptocurrency, to be looking at altcoins. The chart patterns are screaming the same emotions that we've seen in this market time and time again with Bitcoin. And it is so beautiful and so exciting to be in this market today in 2020 looking at these charts. So if you guys learned something from this video, make sure you smash up that like button for me, and also hit the subscribe button with the notification bell to continue to stay updated 5 videos a week. I will be posting more charts and more comparisons of the Bitcoin, the early Bitcoin cycles with the total market cap of the altcoins cycles in the future. So be watching for those. You guys will continue to stay updated on this whole scenario that I see playing out. Bitcoin is still headed towards my shorter term target of 10,000 and my longer term target of 30,000 plus. And I'm very, very excited to see where prices go from here, especially as we head towards the $9,100 resistance level. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. For more awesome content like this, you can also join the VIP, where I post private charts and updated analysis consistently long before it actually happens. So check the description for that. And I love every single one of you guys. I will see you guys in tomorrow's update. As always, stay profitable out there.